I'm so stoked about blueprints coming to Satisfactory next week. I had to run out and make a video right away, but I'm even more stoked on how they're implementing blueprints in the game. If you haven't seen the coffee stain video on the new additions, they're adding a blueprint machine. That machine has a 32 meter by 32 meter by 32 meter space on which you can build machines to save as a blueprint. So your blueprints are limited by what you can fit in the box, but then you can save it and build all of those machines with just one click. You'll also be able to save the blueprints outside of your save file, which will be awesome if you play across multiple saves or if you want to get a copy of your favorite creators' blueprints. Wink, wink. I will definitely plan on finding a way to share the blueprints I end up making with you guys, but we don't have to wait to start thinking about potential designs. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 designs that will fit into the blueprint machine cube, one for smelters, one for assemblers, one for manufacturers. Vamos! So I've set off 3 different spaces for blueprints here, denoted by the different colors. I'm going to start with the smelter design. We can fit a lot of these guys in this cube. Smelters are only 9 meters high and 6 meters wide, so we should be able to fit 30 of these bad boys in this green cube. When we get out our smelters, we can see that we can fit these pretty easily going across here. And so I'm going to have the output go down the middle and the input go down the outside, and so to leave yourself enough room to be able to fit a splitter on the outside, you need to line up that edge with the middle of this foundation here, and then that leaves us enough room to fit a splitter right here like this. And this goes right up against the edge of the 32 by 32 square, and I guess we'll see when the blueprint machine comes out, but I think that will be fine to squeeze into that space. If not, we can actually move this one little notch closer. So let's do the same thing on the other side here. This merger is going to go here in between them, and we need to get our directions right here. So we have to think about if we're building this in a modular way, maybe we want a few of these in a row. I want to have my inputs coming in from one direction, my outputs going out the other end, because we might want to be feeding this module into another module at the end. So everything coming in this direction and everything going out that way. 10 smelters easily fit inside this 4x4 foundation box. And one of the things that it gives you using smelters here in this manner, that they're a little bit more narrow and there's a little bit of extra space here at the end. And one thing that will let you do is have this be completely self-contained within the blueprint machine box here. So you can actually put lifts and it will still be inside that border. It will be right up against the edge, which will allow you to use lifts inside as part of your blueprint. This could be a blueprint in and of itself. This is 10 smelters, and this will give you 30 iron ingots per machine, so 300 iron ingots per minute. So for most builds, this might be enough. So this would be a very useful blueprint for you to have as well. But when you're building at the scale that I am in a lot of my factories, you actually need more than that. So I'm trying to maximize the amount of output that I could get in this box. And we still have a lot of height left here to use. One thing to know that's important here is that a smelter is 9 meters high, so slightly higher than 2 walls. So we use these walls as measurements. If we do 1, 2, that's 8 meters. And then if we do 1 meter wall, that's 9 meters. So if we put a foundation here, that would still clip through the top because the bottom of that foundation would start at 8 meters. So we'll put 1 more wall there. So now the bottom of that foundation is 9 meters. And if we pull out a 1 meter foundation, we should be able to bring that all the way across and have it be right on the top of the machine. There we go. We have our 10 smelters down here on the first floor. And as I said, we actually have enough room right here on the edge for lifts and still keep it inside the 32 meter foundation. Let's take advantage of that and put down some floor holes right here on the edge. And if we do that, this will go right into there. And then we'll have this output right here as well. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now just get out our smelters and put them in the exact same orientation. We have the inputs coming on the outside and the outputs coming on to the middle to be merged. We'll put it right there. And then we'll put down our other 5. Then get our splitters just like we did on the other side. And we can probably redo this lift. I just wanted it to have there as an alignment guide. And we'll put down the rest of our splitters here. And then if you redo this lift, it will join up to the splitter without having to run a separate belt. as long as you can get it to go in the floor hole. There we go. Now that's set up. I think how I'm going to set this up is to have everything going out the other side, going this way the same way as the floor below, and not hook up the outputs, just to give you kind of maximum options. You can always join them up outside the other end if you feel like it. Okay, there's 2 floors worth of smelters, so this will output 600 iron ingots per minute, taking in 600 iron ore per minute. So that's pretty compact output, 600 iron ingots per minute. But sometimes even I want more than that. And if you want more than that, we still have a lot of room here vertically, and we can even fit in 1 more level of these smelters. Problem with that is you're going to end up having inputs and outputs that are more than 1 Mark V belt. So we won't join the 2 floors together, but plan on this blueprint taking in 2 belts worth of iron ingots. So let's pop on another floor. We use 2 1-meter walls here, and just to kind of get things back on track, lined up with the regular walls, I'm going to use 2 more here at the bottom. So that gives us 2. There's 6, and there's 10. And so as we remember from the first floor, smelters are 9 meters high, so we'll put our 1-meter foundation, and it will not clip through. Again, we're going to... Ooh, teenager voice crack. And then... Then again, we're going to put down our mergers with everything coming out the other end, so we could make this fully modular and run a few of these in a row if we really wanted to. This is already outputting a massive amount of ingots, so this particular design may not require an additional module. There you have it. 30 smelters fits inside the 32 meter by 32 meter by 32 meter box for the blueprint machine easily. Plenty of height to spare. And so even with just the regular recipes and no overclocking, you can put out 900 iron ingots per minute out of this setup. In fact, if we do a little overclocking, let's take a look to see how many we could actually output with this. So if we overclock everything 200%, it's going to take a lot of power shards to do this, obviously. But if you really, really wanted to output a lot of iron ingots, if you overclocked everything to 200%, you'd still have the belt capacity to be able to do that on each floor. So each floor would output 600 iron ingots per minute, giving you 1,800 iron ingots per minute out of this design. So if we took this all the way up to 250% overclock, we could still do this on each floor. You'd have 75 iron ingots per minute out of each machine. So a floor of 10 would give you 750 iron ingots per minute, which will fit on a Mark V belt. We could do almost 3 full Mark V belts worth of iron ingots out of this design. So 2,250 iron ingots per minute with full overclocking. Now, of course, you're going to need 90 power shards to do that, but you do have the option to output that many iron ingots just out of this design inside a 32 meter by 32 meter by 32 meter cube. Excellent. Okay, pop some power on there, and that one's ready to go. I can't wait to rebuild that one inside the little cube. It actually doesn't take that long, but being able to do all of that with one click is going to be awesome. I can't wait until next week. Oh, now on to our assemblers. So assemblers are definitely a little bit trickier than smelters or constructors because they have 2 inputs and they're a little bit bigger. Now, assemblers are 11 meters high. So if you have 3 of them just on 3 floors like we have over here, they'd be 1 meter too high and it wouldn't work. So we're going to have to stagger the floors a little bit to get everything to fit in. So let's get these going. So we'll take our assemblers here, and then we're going to put them over here against this edge, just like we did with the other manifold. And then we're going to put 3 of them like this, and we're going to have 3 floors of 3 of them. And so when we start, we'll get out our splitters here, and you can kind of put these wherever you want on this side, but I'm going to put them on this line just to have a guide for it. And I want the inputs coming in this side like this, that, and then I'm going to put them here as well, but I'm going to make that one a stack of 2. Here we have our splitters like this, and then this is the easy part. You just hook up the belts like so, like normal. And then this would be a useful blueprint just so you can save yourself some time. making just regular assemblers, not trying to squeeze them all in. I'm sure that I'll have a set of basic blueprints like this that I will break out when I get my blueprints unlocked next week. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I don't normally like squeezing things in this tight, but desperate times calls for desperate measures when we're trying to be compact and fit them in there. You may be wondering, why are we kind of slamming this all over this way? You don't really need to have it squeezed over that way, but it does make it a little bit easier to do. So let's put on a second floor here. All right, so we'll get our wall here. We're gonna do 2 4-meter walls and then get out our 1-meter foundation. Put that here and just swoop that over 4. Another row 4 here. Not all the way across. I would actually clip through this little light. Very annoying light placement on the assemblers. It could really be a lot more compact if they didn't have these lights on top, but that's all right. We'll work around it. And then so if we break out our assembler here for the second floor, what we really want to do is just leave enough room for a floor hole on this end. Let's see if that's enough. I think it is right here on the edge. Yes. So we just need room for a floor hole, and this will come up right against the edge, but it will still work in our blueprint. So we'll go down here to this level, and now we have these floor holes. So we want to bring this one all the way to the floor to match up with that. And we'll bring this one 1 notch away from the floor to match up with that splitter. And then we have the way to get our inputs up to the second floor here. Here's the first floor design with everything hooked up. We have the 2 inputs coming into each machine, and then the 2 inputs coming up these lifts to the second floor here to this guy. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to get our inputs up to our 3rd floor up here, but we're going to do it through floor holes here on this end as well. So we'll place this floor hole for the higher output, and then we'll place this floor hole for the other output. We won't put on the top lifts right now, but we'll put the bottom ones on just to show you what we're going to do. And this is an input, so lock that one there. And we'll bring this one all the way to the floor to get the output from that splitter right there. So we have the bottom splitter coming up, which will eventually go up to the 3rd floor here, and then the top splitter going up to the 3rd floor through this lift right here. Okay, that's pretty compact, but not crazy. There's a lot of ways to do some extremely compact for 1 row of assemblers, but it's not moving it up vertically, so we can't really use those here. Maybe somebody smarter than me will figure it out. I tried. It's pretty tough. So we have a decent amount of height to work with here, and we could probably squeeze in 4 levels of assemblers in the height in the space that we have left, but it's pretty difficult to figure out the belt work. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do 3 floors of assemblers. And the beauty of blueprints is that I'm sure somebody smarter than me will figure out how to fit 4 levels of assemblers in this box, and then we can all share when whomever figures that out. It might not be me, because I don't want to spend any more time trying to figure it out, and I just spent a little while. And this time we're going to go all the way up for 3 walls, and we're actually now above this little light. And the beauty is now that we're not trying to squeeze everything in, we can actually do a full floor. It makes things a little bit easier. So we have our inputs coming up here. So let's get our floor holes in and then bring them onto this level. So we'll do first one there. Just put these right next to each other. And that leaves you that 2 meter space, because these things are 10 meters wide. So you get this nice 2 meter space to work with here at the end, where you can squeeze in some lifts. Okay, so we're going to put in our splitters in the same places we did before, just to keep it easy. And this time the inputs will be coming from this direction. So we'll put this one here, and then this will be our 2 splitter stack. So we'll get things the right height so we don't cross belts, and we'll do the same thing for these 2 machines as well. So now we have the inputs for all 3 floors sorted. Not bad, not insanely compact, but we got 3 fit in there. So now we have to worry about these outputs. It's all a little tricky at this point, but we're going to get our mergers coming up here and have our output come out on this 3rd level. So the first thing we're going to do is get this bottom layer of mergers hooked up with this 2nd layer of mergers. So let's get a lift. We're going to leave it pointed that direction because it's gonna give us something nice and neat. We get this at the right height, which is right there, straight from the other one. And then we're gonna bring the belt right here. A couple great things about this belt. I love this belt. Excellent. First of all, nice 90-degree angle. Love that. And then I love how this doesn't clip right here. It's so close, but it doesn't clip. Of course, it's in the soft clipping box for the assembler, but it doesn't hard clip. So none of these designs hard clip through, which I enjoy quite a bit. Okay, so there's 2 levels hooked up. And so what we're going to do here is do another floor hole business right here. And then bring our, we're gonna have on the top, we're gonna have it come out and go this way, like so. And then on this side, we're gonna bring it down, match up with this lift, and then we're gonna have to go across there. All right, to finish this off, this is a little less neat than I want, because you want the merger to be right here, but it does hang off the edge a little bit, so I don't know whether that will be allowed or not when you get to the blueprint making machine. But we're gonna move it back 1 spot right there, and this really hurts my sensibilities to do that. But it does keep everything inside the borders, and so we'll know this will work for sure, I guess is the point. So I'll just get some power poles here for fun to make everything light up. So here you go, 9 assemblers fits inside the blueprint box. And this is the kind of design that I really could have used in my last factory. So for my electromagnetic control rods factory, I needed a ton of quick wire. And I like to use the fused quick wire recipe. It's a little bit more efficient with your K-Terium using it in assembler. So if I were to use this to make fused quick wire, I would have 810 quick wire per minute. If I really wanted to dump a ton of power shards in here, I could get 1,620 per minute, or even jacked up all the way to 2,025 quick wire per minute out of here. You'd have to have a separate Mark V belt for each level, but that's actually doable. It divides into a small enough number where you could have a Mark V belt for each level and still do your thing. As I said, somebody will probably find a way to fit 4 in there, but my first try at a blueprint, this is still pretty good. 9 assemblers in the blueprint box. All right, those 2 blueprints down. Let's get over here and see what we can do with manufacturers and take our first shot trying to squeeze as many manufacturers in here as possible. And I'm sure that I'll have future videos with more blueprints in them that I can actually save and share with you. So if you want to see what I have coming up in the future, please hit that subscribe button. Okay, down to business on our manufacturers. Bane of everyone's existence. There's just too many belts, too many lifts. So it'd be great to have a blueprint to simplify that at least just a little bit. One of the problems we have with manufacturers when it comes to making these blueprints is that the manufacturers are pretty big and they're 12 meters high. So 3 stacked on each other is 4 meters too high. We'll get our manufacturer out, and it's key to get this lined up to give us as much room as possible to work. So from back and forth perspective, x-axis, we want it to be just over the edge like that. That will center it in our square. And from the, what I'm calling the y-axis, up and down like this, you want the end of this white to be halfway between the center and the side, like that. And why you want that there is then you can take the belt out like this and keep it inside the square. We're gonna get out our stackable conveyor poles, and it's key that we get this lined up properly. So we're gonna put it right here where you have the right edge on the middle of that foundation, and the same thing here. We're gonna do a stack of 3 of those. And I am going to get out the conveyor pole and put one down here at the bottom as well, and then run our belts across on all 4 levels. And get our splitters and put this directly onto the belt and make sure it's turned in the right direction before you do so, and hit control. Perfect. Okay, so this is a perfect spacing as well for lifts, but on these bottom 2 we're going to put directly into the machine like that. And then on these last 2, we're going to use lifts because they're the right height for it. So this spacing is absolutely key from the manufacturer. If you're closer, this second belt will not go into the machine. And if you're farther this way, a lift will not fit within the square. So it really needs to be in this exact orientation to get this to work. So we're going to make another floor up here above this, but the first floor will work like this, and the belts will just run in from this end for all 4 things, assuming that you kind of bring in a 4-stack little bus like this to begin with. So we'll just get out some walls for measuring sake, and we'll go up 4. That will bring us up halfway to the top. Let's get our 1 meter foundation, zoop that over 4, and then do the same thing. Make a whole nother floor. You have a lot more freedom on where to line up your manufacturer on this floor, but I'm just gonna line up in the same place here that we did before, right there. So that's gonna match up with this floor, and we can't get it any closer to the edge, but this belt now will run right along the edge there if we need it. You could move it back out here if you really wanted to. But so what we're gonna do to get things up from the bottom floor is make a row of floor holes right here in the middle of this, up here on this floor, right in front of the other one. But it'll be in the middle, go straight out here and put it right in the middle like this. This will work out nicely because it'll be right in the quadrant that does if you're using these cement foundations, which is one of the reasons why I like to use these cement foundations, because they are the easiest to line things up with. I'm gonna smack the belts in and get the lifts down to the right height. These should snap onto these lifts if we did it right. We did. Yes. See, all you gotta do is do it right once now, because now you just have to click once to put down this entire thing. Blueprints. It's really gonna change the game, or already has in my mind. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna use it. All right, this is a simple one, but I hope getting all that stuff lined up will make this a little bit easier for you to knock out your first manufacturer blueprint. So I've put some recipes on here. Classic battery. It makes 30 batteries per minute. So this setup could output 60 batteries per minute, which is pretty good. My whole production is 120 per minute, so it would just take 2 of these modules with that recipe on there. Now, of course, again, you can overclock these machines, which would give you, let's see, 75 battery, 150 batteries per minute just out of these 2 machines with overclocking. Of course, you need a lot of power cards to do that. We're talking 150 batteries per minute. We're talking about 2025 quick wire per minute, 2250 iron ingots per minute, all from 1 square of a blueprint. And just look at the amount of machines and belt work and mergers and splitters that we've put on these 3 things. And now we can do all these things with just 1 click. I really enjoyed this today. Obviously, this is an impromptu video topic. I saw the reveal for blueprints and I just ran straight to my computer and started building these things. And you know what? I've really enjoyed doing it, trying to fit what I can in these boxes. That makes it a really interesting way that Coffee Stain has implemented this. And I'm really looking to see what the community can come up with, because there's actually a lot of room for artistic expression in these blueprints as well. This is really concentrated on how many resources can I get out of these blueprints, but there's definitely ways where we can put standardized buildings and looks and things that are really fiddly to build with. Maybe build them once and then you can attach them to each other and only have to do it once. So it's really exciting times in Satisfactory, and I'm just thrilled that Coffee Stain has finally given us what we've been asking for: blueprints. And until next time, I'm DrLootCrate, and stay stoked out there.